Hello everybody, welcome back to Dr. Hannah Dana and Linguistics channel. As I promised you, I will be discussing some semantic issues in this session and the sessions to follow. This is our first session on semantics. To start with, let's remind ourselves of the definition of semantics. Semantics is usually defined as the study of meaning communicated through language. The study of meaning communicated through language. Now, do you remember the figure I introduced to you last session portraying the components of the grammar of language? Well, here it is. Where we have phonetics, phonology, morphology, syntax, and semantics. As I told you before, many authors illustrate the relation between the components of the grammar of language using this figure. Well, students of linguistics as well are taught these components in separate modules. As a matter of fact, these components or linguistic disciplines are integrated. That is to say, none of these disciplines can be taught in complete isolation from the others. In this session, I will try to explain this integrated relationship between these components, highlighting the importance of semantics in particular. I will start with the relation between phonetics and the other disciplines. Now, if you are taking a course in phonetics, let's say English phonetics, syntactic issues are visited, especially when it comes to assigning the stress. Knowing the syntactic category of the word helps you predict the proper syllable that should receive the stress. Phonetics and morphology are also integrated. If you are taking a course in phonetics, you need to know something about the affixes and the way they affect the stress assignment. You need to know whether the suffix you add to the word is stress neuter suffix, stress shifting suffix, or a suffix that attracts the stress in order to decide on the landing dock for that stress. Issues of semantics are also visited in the same course of phonetics, regardless of the language you are studying. The importance of the semantic issues in the field of phonetics stems from different factors, and most importantly, the fact that one of the main differences between phonemes and allophones is the distinctive or the contrastive nature of phonemes compared to allophones. This can be exemplified with the following minimal set. Now, we have in front of us four almost identical words except for one sound and in the same position, that is to say, at the end of each word. Now, replacing the g with t would lead to a change in the meaning of leg. Replacing the t with an s would lead to a change in the meaning of let. Replacing the s with a d would lead to a change in the meaning of less. Therefore, this minimal set is a further proof that g, t, s, and d are different phonemes because replacing one of them with another yields a new word with a different meaning. So one can infer from the minimal set in front of us the fact that even though phonemes are meaningless, their distinctive nature is actually a criterion for making sure that the sounds we are studying or indicating are phonemes, not morphology and the other disciplines. Now, what we have here is actually morphology is also related with the other disciplines in one way or another. I have already told you something about morphology and phonetics. Now, morphology and syntax. Morphology and syntax are integrated as well. This is obvious when we know that certain suffixes or prefixes cannot be added but only to a certain syntactic category to change either the word's grammatical form or its syntactic category from class X to class Y. The addition of the affixes, is not a haphazard process, though. Morphology and semantics are also related. Here we need to remind ourselves of the meaning or the definition of a morpheme. A morpheme is defined as the smallest meaningful part of a linguistic unit. The smallest meaningful part of a linguistic unit. Now let's take, for example, the lexeme walk. the lexeme walk. Now adding the ed, the bound inflectional suffix ed to walk, W-A-L-K, would indicate the past tense of walk. Now changing the ed and replacing it with an s, the bound inflectional suffix s would signal the third person singular present. Replacing this with the bound inflectional suffix ing indicates the progressive aspect of walk. Now, as we can see here, replacing one of these morphemes with another, one of these bound morphemes with another, would not only affect the entire status of WALK, but will also affect the meaning of the whole utterance. Now, another point to raise here is that meaning is also a decisive factor that makes us tell the difference between a compound noun and a noun phrase. For example, when I have such an example as we can see in front of us, and I say, for example, blackboard or blackboard. Now, when I say blackboard, the first example there on the screen, when I say, for example, blackboard, this blackboard means a board to write on, and this blackboard is a compound noun. Whereas when I say blackboard, I mean here it's a noun phrase, and I mean here a board that is black. Now, concerning syntax and its relation with the other subjects or the other disciplines, I have already discussed in brief the relation between syntax and phonetics, as well as syntax and morphology. As far as the relation between syntax and semantics is concerned, it is necessary to know that a sentence cannot be considered as a sentence when it's only well structured, but when also the relationship between its elements makes sense. It is, though, a true sentence and a completely proper sentence. A sentence can be structurally accepted. However, it may make no sense at all if there is an illogical relation between its elements. This can be exemplified with the following simple, straightforward sentence. The cat has read the novel. The cat has read the novel. If we are to analyze the syntactic structure of the sentence, we can simply say that this sentence consists of the cat, the noun phrase, subject. The cat consists of or is made of the article, determiner the, and noun head cat. Now we have here the verb phrase predicate, has read the novel. Then we have here has read is the verb predicator, which actually includes the has auxiliary and read the past participle of the lexical verb. And then we have another noun phrase here that syntactically functions as a direct object, which includes the article, determiner, and novel is the noun head. Then, thus, what we have here is actually the sentence is well structured. Nonetheless, it makes no sense at all. Why is this? Okay, it is true that this sentence, it's true that we could assign a category and a syntactic function for each single element in that sentence. I.e., we could easily parse this sentence with no problem whatsoever. The elements are syntactically well strung, with no doubt at all, to form such a very nice sentence in front of us. However, the sentence has no logical relation, no logical meaning actually, and cannot be considered a true sentence simply because of the illogical semantic relation between the action read and the doer of the action, the cat. The action read requires a plus human doer of the action to be able to perform the action of reading. Cats cannot perform the action of reading. To conclude, We can simply say components of the grammar of language are strongly integrated and cannot be taught separately. Semantic issues are considered as bases when it comes to teaching any of these components. Portraying semantics in a figure on the same level as the other components does not do semantics justice, actually. Well, that's all for today's session. Thank you for being with me today. These are the references if you are actually interested. Next session, I will be discussing the meaning of meaning. Stay safe, have a nice day, and bye-bye for now.